Welcome to the Learning Ladder. I thought it'd be fun today to do a homeschool plan with me. So we're on week 3, and as we're just approaching October, I'm going to add some of our spooky books into our morning basket. So I'll show you morning basket at the end, and I'll just show you, because I already started and I thought, maybe I should film this. So I'll catch you up. We'll finish the rest of the planning for the week, and then I'll show you morning basket at the end. I want to show you this first though, because I need to charge my computer. Apparently I plugged it in but didn't turn it on, so there you go. So this is October tea time. I did do a review of, well, not a review necessarily, but a flip through of this tea time program that they have, purchase tea time program. So I purchased October, December and January's. So this will be the first time they'll actually get to use it. So basically for week 1, you look at this piece of art, which you will then obviously discuss. Then there is a poem. We have also got a composer with a QR code. We have a fun little holidays to celebrate in October, which is kind of fun. I know she's going to really be happy about National Cat Day. And then, on to week 2 and so on. So that's basically what we'll be doing throughout October. And then they have a recipe for you to make when you're doing your poetry tea time. And there are different choices. So let's see what week 1 is. So crispy apple chips or apple dumplings. Okay, so we'll see what she wants to make. So that'll be fun. So that's kind of going to be sort of our theme for our themed unit in October, for morning time at least. But we'll probably end up doing the art and the music in the morning, but then obviously the recipe in the after school time. Or we might just do all the art one day, the music one day, and then do our poetry tea time the next day and have our recipe then. I'm not sure how we're going to work it yet, I haven't decided. But it's just something fun and festive to do throughout October. I'm going to turn my computer off now, but if you watched my, I don't know which video it was, it's several videos back, one of my whole videos I think, I mentioned that I got a new battery for my computer. I finally got the courage to change it. Mission, to say the least, a million different screws you have to unscrew. You had to take out the disk drive, but finally changed it. Oh my goodness, so it works so much better now, except if you forget to charge it when it runs low. But I had it where I had to have it plugged in every time I wanted to use it, so it's like a desktop for about 2 years, 3 years maybe. Ridiculous. So I'm so happy I finally got that battery. Anyway, back to planning. Okay, so what you've missed: learning language arts through literature. We're just doing week 3. I have decided to start our book study this week. So our first book study with learning language arts through literature is going to be The Mysterious Benedict Society. And basically it has there's a bit of vocabulary at the beginning. So they always give an intro, or a summary I should say, some vocabulary to go through and an exercise with that, but then you start reading the chapters. So there are discussion questions for each of the chapters, and then there is an activity section that they can do towards the end once they finish the book, I think. So there's vocabulary again, vocabulary exercise, and then we carry on reading with our discussion questions, and then you've got all these different activities. So it says complete as many of the following activities as you have time for. So it sounds like you're supposed to do those once you've finished all the discussion questions and read the book. Yes, it definitely looks like that because they're mentioning specific parts of the books. Yes, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, I'm excited for her to read that one and see what she thinks. And there is also a essay as well that they have to write. So here is the book. I did get the whole box set, so if she likes it, then something she can continue with. Okay, also for language arts, we are doing our trial 2 weeks of Fix It Grammar. So we did our trial 2 weeks of the Well-Trained Mind grammar, and I do really like it. There's a lot to it though, and it is quite time consuming. She says she prefers Fix It Grammar, but we're just going to do 2 weeks of Fix It Grammar and then compare. I think the reason she prefers Fix It Grammar is because the Well-Trained Mind one is so long. There's so many different exercises, whereas Fix It Grammar, we all know, is 10 minutes and done. But if we decide to go with Fix It Grammar this year, we can always come back and do the Well-Trained Mind next year if we want to. Maybe if I'm not doing something else, so if I've subtracted something else, so for example, say we're not doing AEW next year, then maybe she could do the Well-Trained Mind then. I think it was just, it's very in-depth, and then to add on AEW as well, I think it's a lot time-wise and, you know, just for her to do. So we're going to trial Fix It Grammar for the next 2 weeks and see how she feels. I said in my 7th grade video I was going to leave the decision to her because I think they're both good programs. I do think the Well-Trained Mind is more in depth, more involved, and I think if you weren't using, for example, Learning Language Arts through literature and you were just doing the Well-Trained Mind and IW, I think that would be fine for your language arts, in all honesty. But I do really like Learning Language Arts through literature and I don't want to let go of it. So that's my, you know, I guess I've chosen Learning Language Arts through literature, even against, well, not that they were being compared, because they weren't. It was supposed to be Fix It Grammar to Well-Trained Mind, but I don't want to let go of Learning Language Arts through literature. So if we ever decided one year to not do that, then you think that would be a good year to just do the Well-Trained Mind, but we'll see. I think we're going to end up doing Fix It Grammar, but we'll see after the 2 weeks. She also has been doing her cursive IW, which has been going really well. I do like this course and she likes it too. And we are doing All About Spelling together. I did decide to get the spelling notebook and the copywork notebook from School Nest. She's put her Wings of Fire stickers on them this year, and we've been using the spelling notebook for her All About Spelling words, and then we've been using the copywork book for the sentences from All About Spelling for dictation. It's going really well. Love these. Last year we just used a regular notebook, but I don't know, there's something about the School Nest notebooks. I think it's just because they're all, you know, everything's all contained, and you know, we've used binders in the past where it's loose paper and things, but I'm really enjoying using the system this year. It's really helpful because it's obviously set out in the format that you need. So for example, the lists have enough lines for the words, and the copywork you can put at the top, you know, what source it is, and it's lined. So I'm really enjoying these School Nest notebooks. Okay, and then I've just put our math 7 through 10, and we've been using the School Nest math notebook. Loving this. I used to print off grid paper that I'd made and then just bind it together and use that, and I was constantly having to add more grid paper to it because we go through it really fast. So I'm really happy with this. It holds much more paper obviously than the binding course that you can put 100 sheets on. So it's been working out really well. I like the fact that it's not loose paper, or it's not coiled together. I like the fact that it's actually bound. I thought initially that she might complain because it doesn't completely lie flat, but she hasn't, so yay. I think we've maybe got past that stage now. She's a bit older. I don't think these things matter as much. Plus, I think you can squish it down quite a bit, so it's not been an issue anyway. And this is the size of the grid for the advanced notebook, working perfectly for Saxon Math. Okay, now we're all caught up where we're up to. So for science, we are doing biology for the logic stage. This is actually kind of turning out to be a bit of a review, so that's actually quite useful. And for biology for the logic stage from elemental science, we are on week 3 now. Loving this, loving it. I can't believe I ever went away from it, to be honest, because it's just reminded me of everything that I love about elemental science. So we are on week 3 for elemental science, and I have been sticking to the 2-day-a-week schedule. In the past, we have done the 5-day-a-week schedule, which I do really love, but I will say I do always look at what else is in the 5-day schedule, just in case there's some things you might like to do. Because in the 2-day schedule, they don't mention the want more activities, and there is a section for want more, and they're kind of often more creative and things like that. So I always have a peek at them and just see if there's something in there that she might like to do. But other than that, we're sticking really closely to the 2-day schedule, and it's been working out fantastically. So week 3 is on classification. So in your teacher guide, it'll tell you what materials you'll need, if there's an experiment, what procedures and everything else. It also gives you an explanation of the experiment. It'll give you all the experiment information on this side, which I really like. So on day 1, she will complete the experiment and then fill out her experiment sheet in her student notebook. So here is the experiment sheet that she'll have to complete. Then she enters the dates onto her timeline, which I think is really, really useful. It's a dates to remember over here, and it tells you, scientists or some kind of scientific method or something that was discovered during that time, and I really like that. The timeline is in the book. Then on day 2, she will read the passages from whichever book that is asked for. In this case, it's the Science Encyclopedia from Osborne. Last week, it was the Kingfisher Science Encyclopedia. Basically, these are all the books that was requested in order to do the curriculum. And then she prepares an outline or narrative summary, writes it on her student pages, and then she needs to label the sketch that's in her student book. So in this case, she'll have to complete this sketch do her experiment, and then she'll have to, there's discussion questions, and then she'll do her assignment, written assignment. So that's what she'll be doing for elemental science, and I really do like it. So as you can see here, this is the want more section. So let's have a look. She might do that new species because I think she'd really enjoy that. So we'll see if she wants to. I'll always give her the option if she wants to. It's not required though if she wants to do the want more, but she might enjoy that because it sounds really fun, like creating her own species. But yes, forgotten how much I love elemental science till we actually started again. Loving it. Okay, so I'm just going to write elemental science week 3, and that's as much detail as I'll give because it's all set out in the teacher guide. I don't need to write everything again. Now on the other 2 days we will be doing I nearly said Beowulf, guest hollows, human anatomy. Okay, so we started elemental science the first week and just did elemental science, so we were a week behind in this one, but again it's fine. It's only 35 week, I think 35 weeks. Yeah, so that was fine. I knew that to begin with, so it was fine to do that. So we've completed week 1. So what we did for week 1 was we read Enjoy Yourselves, we read the Horrible Signs, Bones and Body Bits pages, and we also read Blood and Guts, the required pages. We watched some of the videos. She did her labeling of her cells, and she also played this little game from the website. Okay, so for week two, I'm just going to highlight what we're going to do. Let me get my pen. What colour shall we use? I think we're going to use this one. Just got my little pen stash over here. So we are going to read this one for sure. Have a Nice DNA. I'll get that out. Can you even see that? It's not very bright, but I can actually see it. This is, I guess, is why they're mild liners. I don't try to use these actually. When I'm, highlighting something that I actually want to see, I tend to use these in my planner because then it doesn't bleed through. But anyway, I can't be bothered getting up off the floor and going to get a different highlighter, so we're just going to stick with this one. So that's the Have a Nice DNA. Genetics breaking the code of your DNA. Did we get that one? I'm pretty sure we did. Hang on, let me just check the beginning. So I'm just checking. Yes, we do have it. Again, I need to get up and get them off the shelf, which I will do. I'm cozy, so I'm just going to stay here for now. So genetics breaking the code of your DNA. Yes, we do have it. It's pink, so it means I did actually purchase it. So I'm going to highlight this one. So I'll read a chapter. So it's there's 4 chapters for this one, obviously. So we're only doing it for 2 days, so we'll just double up. And again, we won't read this one by the day. So probably on the Monday, we'll read Have a Nice DNA. On the Tuesday, we'll probably read... on the Monday. On the Wednesday, we'll probably read Have a Nice DNA. On the Thursday, we will just probably read all 4 chapters. Or we might do 2 chapters on the Wednesday and 2 chapters on the Thursday. I'm just going to see how long they are. I know these Have a Nice Cells book and Have a Nice DNA, they're not particularly long, so you can easily do that in one sitting. We did not do my first human body book, obviously. Brain Pop videos, we don't have the Brain Pop subscription, so it's only if they're on YouTube, but I've highlighted them pink, which means that they were available. There is a project here to make edible DNA. I'm going to have a click on that and see what is required, and then ask her if she'd like to do it. We do have this kit, so we're definitely going to be doing that. I'll tell you what I really like though about this curriculum. So it'll say here, you don't have to do any of the experiments, but if you want to, and it fits your yearly schedule, just slow down for a week or 3 and spend time to do them. It's totally up to you. So that's why I really like the flexibility of this curriculum. So you can decide, actually, we might want to do a couple of those, and she gives you, I guess, free rein to go down that rabbit hole, or if you need that obvious permission, but you don't, you can decide yourself. But I'm just saying, it's just nice that she actually puts that in there to remind you that you're the one that's supposed to lead the curriculum, not the other way around. I just appreciate that. Anyway, back to this. So yes, we've got this kit, so she'll definitely do something out of here, but as it says here, there's more than one experiment, so you can do them over time as desired. So I'll get her to probably just pick 1 or 2 to do on the Wednesday or the Thursday, and then she can just go through it at her leisure for any other experiments in there that she wants to do. And then what is on the other side? Create a DNA fingerprint. and solve a crime. So we'll definitely do that. That sounds really fun. So the interesting thing about this so far, I don't think it's going to follow the same pattern throughout, but cells was week 1 in elemental science. So then we got to do cells week 1 in and obviously there was a week gap between them, but it was nice to just kind of refresh and go back, and I could see if there's anything that she didn't pick up on or anything, or if there's anything that she, you know, wanted to know more about, which was good. And it's going to be the same with this one, because week 2 in elemental science was DNA and genes, which we've already done. So now we get to do it again, which was nice, but I don't think it's going to be like that throughout. So let's see, week 3 was classification and elemental, and week 3 still DNA. So no, it's not going to be the same throughout, but it was just nice that they kind of did match up a bit. So let's see. Well, it's not going to be classification, probably, no, because this is human body, so muscular system. But anyway, that was nice that they did, you know, they do line up. So yes, that's basically, we're going to read this one, we're going to read the chapters, we'll watch a couple of the videos, we'll do a science experiment out of this kit, and then she can do that activity, which I'm going to highlight now, and that will be our guest hollow for Wednesday and Thursday. The only thing I need to do is check this edible DNA model, see if there's anything that she'd like to make, and if I need to get anything ingredients wise. So we do have this DNA model printable in her science notebook, so we can look at this and label anything if we need to, or she can make some notes. So I think this printable was something that they recommended, maybe. Let's see. I got it from somewhere. No, there wasn't. Maybe it was from the following week. Hang on, let's just check. So if it was, then we'll save it for that. Yes. Oh, it was a colouring page. Okay, so that's for week 3. So we won't touch that until week 3. But that's in a notebook anyway, ready for when we do need it. So I am just going to put week 3 guest hollow. Okay, that's it, that'll do. I'm not going to write what we're going to do because I've already just highlighted everything and it's all on the schedule, and I'm all about not having to repeat myself. Although you might not ever think that for my videos, but yeah. I think every time something's not scripted, people often repeat themselves. Normal. You reiterate stuff because you feel like you haven't explained properly. But ordinarily, I don't like to repeat myself, so I'm not going to write something twice if I don't need to. Okay, next on the list is history. So we have School Nest History Notebook. Again, loving this. We did use this for ancient times. We're now using it for medieval times. We are using Invasion, Plague and Murder. Again, really enjoying it. And we're also using the History Medieval Realms book. However, more using this one more as a read loud and doing the questions out of here, but leaving the option open in case there's anything in there that I like. All that I think is really good, but I like the fact that this is more told in a story. So we've read, we're up to finished reading the whole thing, which is actually kind of useful because we haven't finished all the chapters in here yet, but we've read all the information in this one. So we're on to the exercises. So I'm just going to see if there's any exercise that might be useful. I always think the source ones are good because I know in exams and things they're often asked to interpret sources. So if anything, we will probably do the source one. So exercise 1.4. But I'm just going to see what's in the other book, so I'm not overloading. It's funny because I started watching Vikings again. I don't know if you've ever seen the series on Amazon. It's really popular. I watched it years ago. But because we're doing medieval times, it just seemed really appropriate. And it's the only reason I've started watching Vikings again is because I was watching the Vikings Valhalla, which is the spin-off on Netflix. And I just finished the 2nd season of that, and then I thought, oh, I need more Vikings because I love the Vikings. It's just such an amazing time period. So I had to go back and watch the original Vikings, which is on Amazon. And the Shield Wall is just, let me know, what do you think of the Shield Walls? I just think they're amazing. So every time I've read Shield Wall in this, all I can picture is the Vikings series where they're all stood there, Shield Wall, and they're all, it's just, I don't know, anyway, it just makes me laugh every time I see it. It's just hilarious. Okay, so as I said, we've read, I'm pretty sure we read all of this, because I remember, yeah, no, we did. My little bookmark fell out, so I don't know where that's wandered off to. But yes, so we read all that. So if we do any of the exercises, we will do 1.4. So the next chapter in here is all about conquered England. So we're talking about William the Conqueror So I don't think we're up to that yet, but I'm just going to check to see. So we are doing invasion, plague and murder, as I said. Okay, so we do this 3 times a week. So the Monday we'll do this page, which is beginning at 1066. Again, this is something we've already read about in the other book. So that's kind of actually helpful because you're kind of reading ahead. So what we do is we start with the other book and we read for a bit, and then we move on to this book. So we're going to do the same, even though we're already slightly ahead in here. We're still going to carry on reading, and then we will complete our exercises in here, but I will add this extra 1.4 exercise because I think source interpretation is always really useful. So for Monday we will do this page, so we'll read all the information, and then it's got, sorry, the light is not very good, there we go, the over to you section. Hang on, I'll just move it out of the way. There we go. So you've got the over to you section over here. So she has to write her own fact file, and then does some source work, and then the cause and consequence section. Then on the Tuesday she will do who will be the next king of England. Now this is something that we've already read about, as I said, in that other chapter, so that's useful because hopefully she'll remember some of the things we talked about, and you know who were actually involved. So we've got Harold Godwinson, we've got William of Normandy, and we've got Harold Hardrada, the Viking guy. So she'll again complete this. So we've got an over to you section, so reasons why they should or shouldn't be king, and then there is the cause and consequence section. And then finally on the Wednesday she'll do round 1, the Battle of Stamford Bridge, again, which we've already read about in the other book, and then she has got some questions here to answer. So that's what we're going to be doing for history, and we'll carry on reading the next chapter in here, so that we're always kind of ahead. I didn't intend it necessarily for it to be that way, but it's actually worked out really well. So again, I don't know if all the chapters line up perfectly, but I think a lot of them do. So I think that's going to actually work out really well. So this is the chapters, and I think pretty much they do line up quite well. I just like this book because I think it explains more, and it's more told in a story format, so more of a living book style. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike this one, but I just think that it's a bit more brief, so I like the fact that this expands more. But I like the way the questions are presented in here. I like the extra studies and things. I have done a flip through, I think. Oh no, I didn't do a flip through. I showed you a bit more in detail, but I like the fact that they have this cause and consequence section where it's a bit more in-depth study. It guides them through, there's like literature sections where it guides them through different focuses. So this is like a literature focus, there's a note-taking focus, and then these are all really useful skills for obviously writing essays and things when you are doing history, if she wants to do, you know, history in high school. So for her exams or anything. So it's very useful, those skills particularly. So I'm happy with my combination. This is the first time we've used either of these, but so far we're enjoying them. Week 3. Okay, so I'm just going to put 1.2b, which is just obviously the number at the top, 1.3, and then 1.4. So that's our history. I have pulled some books onto our history read loud shelf over here, and then we will have all of our reference books as well, for when we want to get down to some more in-depth reading. But so far I'm happy with what's been presented in the books, but if there's anything that we want to look in depth into, you know, a bit more detail with, we've got all our history reference books and books from that period. And then I've also, as I just showed you, got some picture books and read louds and things that we can add as well, and independent reading too. Plus there's always YouTube videos as well, that we can add as we go along. Okay, moving on to geography, we are using Jog 1. So we started this in week 2 as well. So we just did our history for week 1. Week 2 we did everything. It's kind of like a slow start, I guess some people call it. So we've done 1.1 and 1.2. So we're now on to 1.3. So we have this page here that she has to read. Then it's a your turn section. I like how visual these are. And then so she'll do this on the Thursday, and then on the Friday she'll do this page with the over to you section, and then she has a workbook and it will have the corresponding pages that she needs to complete. The only thing I don't like about this one is the page is super thin, so ink does run through, but other than that, really liking it so far. So I'm just going to put 1.3 and 1.4 for geography. For art, we have been using Painting with Watercolour from Brenda Ellis, really enjoying it. It is a DVD lead. So we have done this one, we have done lesson 2. So we are on lesson 3. So we have, let's have a look, art appreciation lesson. There are no videos with those ones though. So you get to look at the painting, some more information about the painting. Okay, so we might actually do lesson 3 and 4. We'll see. I'll see how time's going, but we might do lesson 3 and 4 because it doesn't actually have any art instruction in there specifically, although I could ask her to recreate something similar to what he's done, or if she would like to do that. Well, actually, no, it does say here, set up your own arrangement with items from the kitchen. Okay, so never mind, ignore me. We're just going to do 3. Then she can do the activity, the art piece that she needs to do. So yes, I'm just going to put lesson 3 for this one. And we do art on a Monday. Okay, moving on to IEW. So we did week 1 last week, and we didn't do it in the first week, you know, slow start, but we did week 1 last week. So I'm just going to take all these pages out and put them at the back and then bring out week 2. So this is all tabbed. So I've just moved the yellow one to model charts and outlines because obviously that's what that is. And then I'm just going to grab out week 2. So disgusting or a delicacy. Interesting. So the video is 1 hour and 9. I always look at that first just so it gives me an idea for planning for that week. So what we'll probably do is, where's the part 1 finish? So part 1 finishes at 42:20 and then part 2 carries on. So we'll watch the videos over a couple of days, and then depending on what she needs to do, let's have a look. Does she need to write anything other than her keyword outline? Last week she only had to do a keyword outline for both of the articles, but this week she is making her final draft. So she will need we only did it 3 times last week because she was only doing a keyword outline, but we'll do it over the 4-day this week because she does need to do a paper. So I'm just gonna see what else is here. So stylistic techniques, so that we need to move forward, and then the checklist. So all of these pages I'm just going to pull out and then move them to the beginning. And then what I do is I just put them all into source text for the lesson, and then move them to their destination once she's finished with them, just so we know where they are. So that's what we're going to be doing for IEW. So I'm just going to put IEW. We're going to do it over 4 days this week. Okay, so now I did my schedule and I showed it to you, in a previous video, and I mentioned at the time that I was considering switching my electives to a Friday so that we had more time to focus on them and it didn't feel, you know, rushed at the end of the day, because as the schedule was written with all the electives being at the end of the day, and by the end of the day everyone's tired and you know, you want to get done for the day, don't you? That's kind of the mindset of what you have as a child. So I didn't want her electives to be marred by that, you know, oh, I want to be finished and not enjoy them. So I have decided to move them to a Friday. So for the first week I had them at the end of the day and it worked out fine. She didn't really have that attitude at all, but I think it was me more worrying. But I thought as the year goes on and as things get more involved, so for example she has more work with IEW, or math lessons get harder as they do throughout the book, I didn't want, you know, the electives to be a burden, if you like, on her. I wanted them to still be enjoyable. So for the second week I moved them to the Friday and worked amazing, and that's what we're going to do. So the only subject she does on a Friday that is curriculum is geography. Other than that, she does her electives. So for this Friday she will obviously do her geography. She will do her IT, which is the Oxford IT, and we are on. We didn't do it this first week, but we did do it the second week. So she's already done this lesson. And now we are on lesson 1.2, reading binary numbers. So she's got an activity to do. And there's an extra challenge, and then there's a little test from the 2 chapters that she's done so far. So I'm going to put 1.2, so remember. She's going to do her illustration. So the first week she did the illustration sketchbook, and we talked about illustration, you know, what it is and everything else, from one of the guides that I purchased. The second week she read about a specific illustrator, and we read one of the picture books that illustrator had written, which was really enjoyable. So this week, that's how we're alternating it. So one week we'll do the theory, I guess you could say, so, you know, reading all about it in practice, and then obviously practicing it yourself in her book that I purchased. If you've watched my curriculum video, you'll have seen it. And then the second week, so I'll either say 1 or 2. So 1 is when we do the theory, 2 is when we actually read about a specific illustrator and look at their book. That's how I'm working it out anyway. So we're back to 1 again, because we read all about our illustrator and the picture book last week. So this week we're back to theory, so we'll read some more of the guidebook. So this is the one we have been reading as our guide, Illustrating Children's Books, and then this is the illustration workshop, which is the week 1, as I said, week 1 scenario. Then week 2, what we've been doing is reading about an illustrator and looking at some of their work, i.e. their picture book that they've made. So week 1 scenario again is these 2, so that's what we're going to be doing for this week. Okay, then she'll be doing sewing, and we have been really enjoying, she has been loving sewing this year, and it's amazing because I've tried sewing in the past with her and she's been like, you know, not too, I think it's all age, it really is. So if you tried something with a kid when they were younger and, you know, they didn't seem that interested in it, just put it away and just try again in a couple of years, because I think I tried sewing about 3 years ago and it just was not the right time at all. She was scared about getting poked with a needle, and, you know, she just wasn't enjoying it. But now, oh my gosh, she's already made a little cushion out of scrap material, you know, old clothes, and she's like super excited to learn and everything about sewing. So yeah, just don't worry if that happens, and just put it aside and come back to it, and, you know, your kid will surprise you. Mine certainly did, because she's loving it so much. So we do sewing. We will also do our Harry Potter unit study, and we will do baking. So we'll probably end up doing, for our baking, the recipe from the October Poetry Tea Time book, unless there's something else that she wants to do. So we are doing the Barefoot Within the Trees, although I think she's changed her name now to something else, curriculum for Harry Potter, and we are reading the Mina Lima version. I don't think this is the version she actually has in here. I think she mentions doing the illustrated one, which was the one we did last year, but I didn't think it would matter, and it hasn't so far. So I just really wanted us to read this one because I love these books, they're so interactive. I haven't printed that bit off, but basically she gives you, you know, the list of books that you need to purchase in order to do the curriculum. I'm pretty sure it was the illustrated version, but I don't think it really matters. I love this version, absolutely stunning. We've not got to that page yet, so I've not taken out the strips, but absolutely gorgeous. So we did chapter 1, so now we are on to chapter 2. So let's see what we have to do. There's a couple of questions, and then she's got a quill skill page, and then a handicraft. So we don't always do the quill skill pages. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but this, I don't think we'll bother doing this one. And then she'll like to do this one, I'm sure she will. Yes, and perfect, because we've got the fabric paint with those Sharpie pens that I purchased, the creative Sharpie markers, so they work on fabric too, so she can use those. I just need to find a sock now, but I'm sure I'll find an odd sock. I don't know about you, but my washing machine eats socks, because, so all I can say, because I have so many pairs of odd socks and I don't know where they all go. So I don't think we'll have a problem finding a sock. But yes, that's what we'll do for our Harry Potter. The last thing we'll do is a watercolour with me page. So we've got several of the books. We have got in the jungle, we have got in the forest, under the ocean. So she'll just pick whichever one she'd like to do, and we usually do that together. I watercolor, I've got my own book, she does in her book, and it's just such a fun end to our Friday. Okay, so then in extras, so we do all this together. And then in extras is when she does anything independently, and the things that she is currently doing for her independent work is she'll do spelling and word study, and we are on week 3, yes, week 3 for that. So she'll do that every day, including Friday. So basically the only day we do it together is on a Monday when it's new words, and because I just go through all the words with her, make sure she understands all of them and can use them appropriately. Otherwise, if they can't, then they can get everything wrong. So just make sure that they understand. If you are giving it them to do independently, just make sure they do understand all the words, because I think some of them are quite tricky, to be honest, especially when it's the Wednesday lesson, which is sometimes Greek and Latin roots. So if that's the only other time that we'll often go through it together as well, because some of them can be really tricky. The way, I don't know if it's the way, I keep writing before, I don't know if it's the way they explain it, or I don't know what it is, but sometimes those ones can be a bit tricky. Even I have to have a think sometimes. Yeah, so she'll do a spelling and word study. Then she has an additional cursive book, which she does. She has a few different choices. We've got the daily cursive from Evermore, which I do really like, and she's also got her Charlotte's Web one as well, so she can choose whichever one she wants to do. And then she has got the Usborne Year of Writing and the Usborne Year of Art. She can pick which one she wants to do. Sometimes she'll alternate and do one or the other. Sometimes she'll do just one. So for, I think the first week she did just art the whole week. The second week she did 2 pages of the art, 2 pages of the writing. I'm just going to put Usborne Journal, and then obviously she can decide which one's only Monday to Thursday for that one. The Friday is only because it's a 5-day curriculum. And then that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much our week for next week. I hope that was enjoyable for you. Oh, morning basket, that's what I meant to tell you. So let's go to morning basket now. Okay, so for morning basket we have been reading 100 Years of Poetry for Children, or Edgar Allan Poe. We've been alternating between those two. The Big Book of Mysteries, this has gone down amazingly. She absolutely loves this book. Let me just grab it so you can see. This one loves this book. She's so engaged and interested in it. But we've only been doing 1 mystery a day. We've also been reading the Collins Wood a day. Every Day Amazing, that's basically where it tells you a fact about that day. Everything Under the Sun is an interesting science fact, and Animal Day is self-explanatory. And then we have been reading Storyland, which again is really interesting. So this is all about myths and legends, and it's such a really interesting book. Loving that one. So now that we're approaching October, we are going to add a world full of spooky stories, and we are also going to add where are you, this one, Sleuth and Solve. Spooky. So we won't do them both on the same day, we'll alternate. So one day we'll do the spooky world full of spooky stories, and the other day we'll do Spooky Sleuth and Solve. And then we always do either a couple of cards from the discovery deck, or a little game from our morning card basket, or something. Even if it's not in the morning, it might be a bit later on in the day. But that's everything. So I think the last time I showed you my planner, I hadn't stuck the tabs on, so there they all are. The tabs are all there. But yeah, that's everything, and I'll see you in our next video. So thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.